Nigerian men are not as straight as they want you to think. I have been in rooms with Nigerian men. I have watched them. I have listened to them. And I am here to say very, very calmly, very clearly that the straightest thing about many Nigerian men is the lie they tell themselves. They are constantly lying to themselves. Yeah. Zoo. Welcome back to Igbo Queer and Unfiltered. I am Charles. This is episode 74. I cannot believe this. We are doing what needs to be done. Okay, we are doing it. Today I am saying and talking the thing that a lot of gay African men know to be true, rarely say out loud. The Nigerian men broadly are not as straight as they perform themselves to be. Before each and every one of you comes for me, I am not calling everyone gay. I want to make this clear. I am not calling every Nigerian man gay. I am not outing anybody. I am not outing anyone. I am talking about culture, behavior, performance, and the very specific way heterosexuality functions in the Nigerian society as a costume that many men put on because the alternative is unthinkable. I just want you to stay with me, okay? Because what we are not going to do here is a lot of these good-for-nothing, crusty-dusty men who perform all their nonsense to come and be doing higi and haga. What straightness actually means in Nigeria? I know. I come across them every freaking day whenever I have the time to engage with some of them. And sometimes when I'm on my TikTok live, some of these people will come and tell me how gay I am, how they are not gay. Why are you gay? When did you know that you're gay? Who taught you to be gay? You learned how to be gay, yada, 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 and every of the nonsense. In Nigeria, being straight is not just a sexual orientation. It is a social requirement. It is tied to family honor, religious standing, community approval, and economic access. A man who is perceived as gay risks losing all those things at the same time, simultaneously. So what many men do is perform. They perform being straight. They perform straightness aggressively, loudly, and sometimes violently. And this is not because it reflects who they are, but because the cost of not performing it is too high. Example of this is unaliving you, threatening your life, shame, and so many other things. Are your family proud of you? Why are you doing this? This is horrible. It is a sin. Do not do this. Don't do that. Bah, 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 bah. It's constant. And a lot of people don't want to lose a lot. Look at me. I have some of my relatives who don't speak to me anymore. I've lost friends. I've lost a few opportunities and things like this. But you know one thing I'm not going to do is perform for anybody and act like I am a straight man while I am not. I am not going to perform for any good-for-nothing person. No. When I say Nigerian men are not as straight as they think, I'm not dismissing the reality of heterosexual attraction. I am pointing at the culture that makes it impossible for men to even ask themselves honest questions about who they are. When people speak to me sometimes and they argue with me, when I ask them, who are you? Sometimes they don't know. I'm telling you, sometimes they really don't know. They will just be talking nonsense out of their seasoning barren mouth. They will just be so confused and they will explain things to me. I will be like, you don't know who you are, right? You don't know, do you? Because if you do know who you are, maybe, just maybe, you will mind your freaking business and do some learning. Being straight in Nigeria is a survival strategy for many men. And survival strategies tell us very little about desire. It tells us very little about what you want for yourself, how you want to be sexual and all of the things. I know. A man performing straightness and a man who is straight are not always the same person. I want to repeat this for it to be simple. For some of you, maybe you did not understand this. A man that is performing to be straight, performing straightness, and the man who is straight are not always the same person. I know. So I've said this before where I said that being straight, like straightness and straight, whatever you want to call it, is a performance. So when you perform straightness, you are trying to be so masculine. And look at me, I'm so macho, I'm powerful, I'm a strong man, I'm this and that and that. And you're trying to show people that you're powerful. I have seen homosexual men who do this. I used to know this person in Manchester where whenever you see him, the way he acts is so like, I'm this dog, I'm tough, I'm powerful, I'm strong. And it's just over the top. And I know him. I know he's a homosexual. He was overcompensating and doing all of the things. I don't know where he is now because I don't know. I think he moved away from Manchester. But it was wild for me to say. And I will be looking at him and I will be like, I know, we know each other. This thing you're doing will even make people suspect you the more. Just be yourself. I don't know why a lot of men try as much as possible not to even hug fellow men, to compliment fellow men and tell them, oh, I like your outfit and things like this. Because anything you do, even with washing your anus, means you're gay. Even with dressing well and cleaning yourself properly, means you're gay. Grooming, gay. Anything, gay. Dressing well, gay. My dear, wake up, guys. Wake up. Wake up. The homoerotism hidden in plain sight. Like, a lot of the times when these guys do what they do, I'll be looking at them. I'll be like, your closet is so transparent. Like, it's with a glass house. We can see you. We can see you. Stop behaving like this. Stop acting weird. Nigerian male friendships are fascinating to me. Men hold hands. Men share beds. Men declare deep love for each other in ways that would read as romantic in any Western context. And then they turn around and call homosexuality an abomination. Cognitive dissonance is extraordinary. When I was at University of Maiduguri, I shared bed with my roommates, not flatmates, roommates. We had one bed. We slept in the same bed, all of us. I have slept in the same bed as my friends. And there's so many things about our people that when you look at it, if they remove all their nonsense in their head, I think they will be fine. Because there's so many things you do with men that are not sexual, but somehow, if someone you perceive to be gay does it, it is sexual. A lot of you hold hands, like I said. You hang out with each other, you hug each other, you do whatever, you shower together and all of the things. But then you call homosexuality an abomination and a sin. I think a lot of you need to look up within yourself and ask yourself questions, because there is a specific kind of intimacy between Nigerian men that exists in a cultural blind spot, because it has always been there. It has always been there. It is not new. It has a name. It does have a name. Do you know what that name is? It is called brotherhood, friendship, loyalty. It does not get examined. A lot of you don't look at this, where some of you say things like, oh, I'm going to go the extra mile for my guy, for my friend, yada, 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 and things like this. Sometimes some of you want to respect men when you're dating women. You care about what the men think about and not what your wives and your girlfriends think about. But the truth of the matter is, intimacy is intimacy. Tenderness is tenderness. The label does not change the feeling. I have been in spaces where straight Nigerian men do things emotionally, physically, behaviorally, and otherwise that they will condemn me, Charles, for. I see this every time. You do things that you condemn gay people for. This is very common, not only in Nigeria, but this is very common in the African society. But once they see a gay man do some of these things they do, they will condemn you. Do you know, because of I have come out as gay and everyone knows I'm gay, everything I do, how I live my life, whatever I do, if I use my lip gloss, if I moisturize, is evil, is wrong, it is gay. You know what the difference between us, not what we felt. It was what I was willing to name. I am a gay man. I am a gay Igbo man. I am naming myself that because that's what I am. I am not in denial. I do not think I'm a sinner. I do not think that my life is horrible, that my life is miserable. I don't have any regrets in terms of my sexual orientation. I cannot change who I am. I am feeling this way. I have affection for men. I'm attracted to men and all of the things. And I'm not going to be able to change that because that's who I am. But a lot of you who are in denial need to ask yourselves a lot of questions. Look within you. Ask yourselves why you get so angry, extremely angry when you see a gay person living their life and things like this. Because sitting here and looking at myself, I don't even know what you are afraid of. It just feels like some of you Nigerian men, what you are really afraid of is not homosexuality. It is the word. It is the word. That's what you are afraid of. Because a lot of you do things in your life that you should maybe think about and look within you and ask yourself questions. Religion, as I have mentioned in so many ways, can be a massive problem. It is a tool of control. It is used to tell you that you shouldn't be yourself and things like this. Religion suppresses honest questions. The church and the mosque have done enormous work in the Nigerian society to make self-examination feel sinful. If you feel something that the church says is wrong, the prescribed response is not to explore. It is not exploration. It is not to ask yourself questions. It is prayer. It is fasting, suppression. So what happens is that many Nigerian men have never ever actually sat with their desires and asked themselves honest questions, because doing so will feel like inviting something that is evil, inviting condemnation, inviting evil into their lives. But when you look at this, what it produces is not straight men. What it produces is men who have never been allowed to find out anything about themselves. And those are very different things. If you are not allowed to find out anything about yourself, what happens? Homophobia can happen. Internalized homophobia can happen. Hatred of yourself can happen. Wanting to harm people who did not do anything to you can happen. And the thing is that some of the most homophobic men I have ever come across, I have ever encountered, were clearly, visibly struggling with something. The aggression is always specific, extremely. The discomfort they feel is always and was always too personal. You do not react violently to something that has nothing to do with you. There is no place in the world where you will react extremely violent, angry, aggressive, with enormous anger from deep within you if it does not have something to do with you. This is why I say that a lot of these extreme homophobic men who speak to gay people crazy are the most are the extremely gay men. They are gay men. Because why are you so preoccupied with something that does not have anything to do with you whatsoever? Because some of you are in a closet that is so transparent and you don't see it. And I have said this in so many versions that some of you will come and speak to us crazy, thinking that if you do a lot of these things, nobody's going to know that you are gay. I don't know why you always think like this, because you can never, ever react the way you react if this does not have anything to do with you. Homophobia is often self-hatred with a target. And the target is gay people, someone like me who is visible, who is speaking openly, who is confident in who I am, who is not ashamed. That is what homophobia does. Because homophobia is a massive self-hatred who is looking for something to pour all their frustrations on. That is why some people say mystery. How do they say it? Misery knows company or wants company, something like this. Because you always want something to target. And all of you, whenever you see anyone that is gay, that is living their life, what you do is, why are you gay? You're going to go to hell. The Bible said that it is a sin. Why are you allowing this to happen to you? This is not what we do in our culture. Remove Igbo from your name. You are not Igbo. There are no gay Igbo people. There are no gay Africans and all of the nonsense. And you think you have common sense. Some of you are just wild in so many ways. And I need to say to you that you need to do something about yourselves because this is not on. You know, there's something that happened to me a few months ago. There's a guy that was really actually it's more than a few months ago. This is a while ago. He was extremely homophobic, really aggressive, disrespectful, called me names, told me how everything about me is horrible, how I'm going to go to hell. He said a lot of horrible, nasty things to me. And then one day he messaged me on my DM and was telling me, don't tell anybody this, how he's a homosexual, or he hated himself and hates himself and doesn't know what to do about this. He was very sorry about the way he dealt with me and how he spoke to me and apologized to me and said to me that I should keep this private. Of course, I'm not going to share the person's details, but I'm just telling you these stories. And what normally happens is that you're going to have men who will privately contact you, reach out to you, message you, and do all of the things after maybe they have really been disrespectful to you. I want to speak carefully here because I am not going to expose anyone. But I will say this, as a gay Igbo man who is visible online, I receive messages, as I've said earlier, from Nigerian men, married Nigerian men, religious Nigerian men, men with children, men with somehow, maybe whatever you call it, they may be popular or not, or visible or not. Men who comment negatively on queer content in public and send very different messages to me in private. This happens. I have had guys who are horrible. And in my private life as well, I know people privately who I have their contacts, who are my friends, who will say to me, don't do this, don't do that, don't be gay in public, don't say this, you're dancing naked in the public and things like that. This happens. I am not saying this to shame anyone. I am saying this because the gap between the public performance and the private reality is enormous. And that gap tells us everything about what straightness in Nigeria actually is. It is a performance maintained by terror. A lot of the guys you see constantly on social media, on my live stream, on TikTok, on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and everywhere being extremely homophobic to me, some of these people are who they are, and I'm not going to not be kind to them because I do understand what it takes when you are struggling with your life and you can't live in your truth and someone else is living that and it makes you angry sometimes. because you want to have a target. I can empathize with you, but what I cannot condone is you being extremely homophobic towards people in public. I'm not going to out anybody. I've said this so many times, but a lot of you need to seek therapy. You need to speak to someone. Call that woman if you can afford it. Speak to them and do something about how you feel. Because people like me who are honest to themselves is not the reason why your life is miserable. No matter how you insult me every day, that is not going to change who I am. Let me tell you something. The inbox of a visible gay African man like me is one of the most honest places on the internet. I swear. Like, I don't accept messages on my DM and things like this and whatever, but the messages I have in my DM is crazy. People who will insult me privately and tell me about their sexual orientation and things like this. And that is fine. I'm not going to shame them, as I said. I'm not going to condemn them. But I think that you need to look within yourself and ask yourself questions why you think that it is okay for you to be homophobic towards gay people and towards someone who is living their life who did not do anything to you. I'm going to make something clear here because a lot of you listening to this will think that I'm calling every Nigerian man a homosexual. I am not calling every African man a homosexual, every Nigerian man a homosexual, because every Nigerian man and every African man is not a homosexual. I want to be clear about this. Let me go through this again. I am not saying every Nigerian man is secretly gay. I am not saying heterosexuality does not exist in Nigeria. What I am saying is that a culture that makes honest self-examination impossible cannot produce reliable conclusions about anyone's sexuality, about anyone's sexual orientation, including its own. Okay? I am also not saying that men who act on same-sex desire in private and perform straightness in public are villains, evil. I am not saying that. Many of them are trapped. Did you hear that? Many of them are trapped. The system traps them. What I am saying is that we should stop pretending the system is producing what it claims to produce. A lot of these men who are behaving like this are not doing this because they want to be Higgy and Haga. Sometimes your environment puts you in a situation where you do this. And a lot of the things we forget to actually look at sometimes when you are in societies like Nigeria and other African society and other African countries is that you can never ever know who you are if you are not allowed to ask the question, to ask questions. You can never know yourself if you are not allowed to critically think. How are you going to know yourself? I was saying in the last week's episode, where I said that there are some Nigerians who are gay people who don't know the full meaning of LGBTQIA+. And sometimes they may move to countries where they are seeking refuge. Because of they don't know these things, they may be refused because of things like this. And it is not their problem. Because when you are not allowed to ask questions and ask yourself personal questions and ask the society questions, ask everyone, have self-evaluation and things like this and self-reflect, you may never, ever be able to know who you are and be able to know where you're going. You may never, ever be able to know your left from your right. And this is why we have a lot of these Higgy and Haga men who speak to LGBTQIA plus individuals crazy on the internet, especially. And the thing is that as a society, we need to love people for who they are, respect people when they are living their lives and minding their business. Because at the end of the day, someone who is gay is not harming you. I don't understand the reason why a lot of you think that it is okay for you to be extremely homophobic towards people who are just literally living their lives and not harming you. Okay, let me just say this. If you are a Nigerian man listening to this and something I said today landed somewhere uncomfortable for you, I am not your enemy. I am not your enemy. I'm just being very clear. I am just the person who said it out loud because it needs to be said. I am a very honest person. I am living my life unapologetically and authentically. I am not here to fight anybody. I just want you to look within yourself and ask yourselves the right questions and do the right thing. I want you to stay honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself, even when honesty is expensive, even when it's going to cost you. Okay, for all my LGBTQIA plus individuals, you are amazing, you are wonderful, you are the vibes, you are fabulous. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not a taboo. Just know that anything you are doing Do it. You deserve joy. You deserve happiness. You deserve love. Stay wonderful. Remain blessed. I have been Charles. This has been Igbo Queer and Unfiltered podcast. Thank you so much for joining the movement for visibility, truth, and representation. Have a wonderful time. I will see you in the next episode.